The Senate will come to order. The Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Bettencourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Flores, Gutierrez, Hagenbu, Hall, Hancock, Hinojosa of Nueces, Hinojosa of Hidalgo, Huffman, Hughes, Johnson, King, Colcourse, Menendez, Middleton, Miles, Nichols, Parker, Paxton, Perry, Schwartner, Sparks, West, Saffarini.
A quorum is present. Please rise for the invocation to be delivered by Larry Coulter, the Lakeway Church. Welcome, Pastor Coulter.
Thank you. It is great to be here on this beautiful day. Let's pray together. Almighty God, we come before you with humble hearts, seeking your wisdom and guidance as the Texas State Senate begins its work. You're the source of all truth and justice, and we ask that you bless this chamber, filling it with wisdom, integrity, and a spirit of service. Lord, we thank you for the great state of Texas, for its rich heritage, diverse people, and abundant resources. May those who serve in the Senate do so with a heart for the common good, setting aside personal ambition for the greater calling of justice, prosperity, and peace. Give them clarity of thought, strength in decision-making, and a deep respect for those they represent. Grant them patience in debate, unity in purpose, and a steadfast commitment to uphold what is right and true. Where there is division, bring understanding. Where there is uncertainty, provide discernment. May their words and actions reflect the highest ideals of leadership, and may they always seek to serve with humility and grace. On this day, we remember Sylvester Turner, and thank you for his service as the U.S. Representative for Texas 18th Congressional District. His work as the 62nd Mayor of Houston, his long service in the Texas House of Representatives. We pray for his family and all who are blessed by his dedicated service. I ask now that you would bless the families of this body, their staff, and all who support the work of governance. Protect them from harm, renew their strength, and remind them daily that their calling is one of service to the people and to you. We ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Coulter. For those in the gallery, you may be seated. The Dean of the Senate moves to excuse Senator Miles on account of important business in the district. Is there objection? The chair hears none. The motion is adopted. The Dean of the Senate moves to dispense with the reading of yesterday's journal. Is there objection? Chair hears none. The motion's adopted. The following message from the governor, the secretary will read the message.
To the Senate of the 89th Legislature, regular session, I ask the advice, consent, and confirmation of the Senate with respect to the following appointments. To be the Inspector General for Health and Human Services, Raymond C. Ray Winter, Austin. To be a member of the Employees Retirement System of Texas Board of Trustees, Patrick B. Pat Frost, San Antonio. Respectfully submitted, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, to nominations.
Chair recognizes Senator Cook to introduce the Doctor of the Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my honor to introduce our Physician of the Day and my constituent from SD 15, Dr. Christine Wan. Dr. Wan has had a distinguished career starting in 2000 as an assistant professor at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, where she served as a faculty member until 2003. She served as a physician at Physician First Wendover Family Medicine from 2003 to 2005 before taking on the role of medical director at First Physicians East University Family Medicine, where she made a strong impact until 2018. Currently, Dr. Wan is the Associate Medical Director at Next Level Urgent Care, where she continues leading with expertise and devotion. Dr. Wan earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in biology from Baylor University and later received her MD from the University of Texas Medical Branch. Over the course of her career, Dr. Wan has shown commitment to patient care across a wide range of medical settings in academia, family medicine, and urgent care. Dr. Wan's leadership and contributions have positively influenced both her patients and her colleagues, and we are fortunate to have her here today. Doctor, thank you for your service to our community and for volunteering your time at the Capitol here today. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Wan. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair lays out the following resolution. The Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 209 by Middleton and Creighton, recognizing March 6, 2025 as Galveston County Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Senator Middleton on the resolution.
All right, it's Galveston County Day. If everyone could stand up that's in the gallery here from Galveston County. Look at that crowd. We filled up the gallery here today, and on behalf of myself and Senator Creighton, we want to welcome you to your Texas Capitol. And before I forget, everyone make sure to come by tonight. Schultz's 5 to 7 p.m. We got a lot of great music and food. So please come join us for Galveston County Day tonight. And joining us here on the floor is Commissioner Hank Doogie and Joe Giusti. And I got to brag on them here. We talk a lot about leadership, and Galveston County is always at the no new revenue rate or below, right? So that counts a lot in those local decisions. We talked a lot about that on the floor in the property tax bill. And not only that, you saw both of these gentlemen up here last session trying to get us to eliminate a government job. Hank, that was your job. You were the last county treasurer of Galveston County. So it's also not every day that we have a county up at your Texas Capitol trying to save taxpayers from having to pay for that extra unneeded government job. So thank you for helping your constituents and taxpayers in eliminating that wasteful position, saving the taxpayers money. And today we've got so many from the county up in the gallery right now. We have so many other local elected officials, our chambers, the Galveston Chamber, Texas City Lamarck Chamber, the League City Chamber, the Hitchcock Chamber. I think the Friendswood Chamber is up there, Santa Fe Chamber is up there as well. And you think about the history of our county, where 1900 storm was the worst natural disaster in all of American history. And did we give up after that disaster? No, we did not. What we did is we raised the entire city and built the seawall. And that grit and persistence is still alive and well today in Galveston County. We don't count us out when there's a disaster. We have that special Gulf Coast grit where we rally together as a community, join together, whether it's Hurricane Harvey that we had or Hurricane Ike. That is our most shining moments as a community where we're helping each other, helping families in need. And today, 8 million tourists a year visit Galveston County, whether that's Kemah or the island. We have 2 million cruise ship passengers that come to the island. I think we're going to be the third largest cruise port here. We're about to eclipse some of those Florida ports. And of course, we have world-class education as well. We've got UTMB up here in the crowd today, I know. We have Galveston College. We've got the Sea Aggies. Where are y'all? Sea Aggies up here. We've got College of the Mainland as well. So we've got great community colleges, great higher ed as well. And Texas City Port, Galveston Port is here today. I see our pilots. And just to give a shout out to how we're leading the charge for America's energy independence, the Port of Texas City is about to go to 1.3 million barrels a day of export capacity. I mean, so that is truly America's energy independence right here. And also, it's us taking money from countries that don't like us. We're selling that product overseas. I want to welcome you to your Texas Capitol. Thank y'all for coming here today. It's great to see everyone up from home and bring those Galveston County values to your Texas Capitol, and we're proud to honor you in your Texas Senate. So God bless you. God bless Galveston County Day.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. Resolution's adopted. Chair lays out the following resolution. Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 210 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo, recognizing March 6, 2025 as Sullivan City Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Senator Hinojosa of Hidalgo.
Thank you, Mr. President, members. And today is a very special day. We recognize Sullivan City Day here at the state capitol. Not a huge city, but a very well-established city with a great history in Hidalgo County. Sullivan City was founded in 1908, located along the Rio Grande in Hidalgo County. It was named after Captain Ed Sullivan, who owned a ranch in the area that became a key location on Missouri Pacific Railroad. Sullivan City is one of those rural cities that continues to grow and expand, but also with a rich history of ranching, farming, and continues to provide education for the young families. It has grown from a population of 2,300 in the end of 20th century to nearly 4,000 residents today. The citizens of Sullivan City are dedicated to preserving their heritage, their history, while building a future filled with expanding opportunities for the families and the residents. This resolution honors the unique contribution not only to the county, the valley, but to the state of Texas and its rich history. So please, members, help me welcome up in the gallery. I will be introducing Mayor Alma D. Salinas. Could you please stand? Mayor Salinas. We have Councilman Ruben Villalon, Chief of Police Ronaldo Cortez, and City Manager Richard Osuna. Members, please help me welcome the City of Sullivan to the state capitol. Thank you for being here.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Senator Alvarado for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I am very pleased and excited to recognize the Houston Police Department's Chicano Squad. They're in the gallery. I'm going to call their names in a minute, but as you can see, they're already standing up. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the Chicano Squad did for our Houston Police Department. A group of officers who changed law enforcement in Texas. In 1979, when violent crimes against Latinos were going unsolved, these officers were chosen to investigate. Now, they had no formal investigative training, but they had something more important. They spoke Spanish. That ability allowed them to gain trust, break barriers, and solve cases that had gone ignored for many, many years. It wasn't just about language. It was about their determination. They were committed to proving themselves, working tirelessly to bring justice to a community that had been left behind. Their efforts led to an astonishing 91% clearance rate in their first year alone. Their story was almost lost to history. These humble men never saw themselves as extraordinary. It wasn't until some of the Houston City Council members and our late then Mayor Sylvester Turner recognized them at City Council 40 years after their first day on duty. Today, their contributions are permanently recognized in the Houston Police Department History Museum. But their impact didn't stop there. They helped change the diversity of the Houston Police Department. Because of them, HPD now better reflects the demographics of our city, and many Latinos were inspired to join the police force. They not only solved crimes, they helped calm tensions between the Latino community and the police. Thanks to the efforts of many, including Jose Salvera's son, Sergio, their story is now being told in a documentary that you can see on A&E, Prime, and Apple TV. In the gallery, we have Jose Silvera Jr., Raymond Gonzalez, Cecil Mosqueda, and UP Hernandez. Please help me in recognizing HPD's Chicano Squad.
Chair recognizes Dean Zaffarini. For what purpose?
Thank you, Mr. President. To add to Senator Alvarado's comments.
You recognize.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Alvarado, for bringing these heroes so that we can meet them in the Texas Senate. Their work may have been in Houston, but it was known throughout the state, and they truly set a standard. They set an example, and they set a pathway for other officers in other cities to try to emulate them every day in every way. Members, this is truly a unique group, and I'm so glad that Senator Alvarado honored them and that they have been recognized in the city of Houston, but they truly deserve to be recognized statewide and even at the national level. Bienvenidos al Senado de Texas. Gracias por estar con nosotros hoy. Thank you, Senator Alvarado.
Chair lays out the following resolution. The Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 213 by Gutierrez. Whereas proud residents of Pearsall are gathering in Austin on March 6, 2025 to celebrate Pearsall Day at the state capitol. And whereas situated in central Frio County along Interstate Highway 35, Pearsall traces its origins to February 15, 1882, when the International Great Northern Railroad and the New York and Texas Land Company platted a town along the newly built rail line connecting San Antonio and Laredo. Named for the railroad's vice president, Pearsall became the county seat of Frio County in 1884, and it grew into a vital hub for regional trade. And whereas known for its prominent role in Texas agriculture, the Pearsall area produces a wide variety of products, such as potatoes, watermelons, and specialty herbs. In addition, local farmers make significant contributions to the peanut industry, and their efforts are commemorated by the world's largest peanut monument. The city's strategic location between San Antonio, Laredo, and the U.S.-Mexico border makes it a key economic and transportation junction, and it is also a center for energy development. And whereas Pearsall is home to a large and dedicated force of line workers who construct, maintain, and restore critical electrical infrastructure, often traveling to disaster-stricken areas, these workers enhance the safety and security of communities across the state and the nation. And whereas the Pearsall Independent School District, which encompasses Ted Flores Elementary, Pearsall Intermediate, Pearsall Junior High, and Pearsall High School, provides residents with a strong educational foundation. The city's thriving local economy is bolstered by small businesses and commercial development, and Pearsall benefits from a population that is deeply committed to public service and economic progress. And whereas celebrating their rich history as they work to build an even brighter future, the citizens of Pearsall are justifiably proud of their community, and it is indeed fitting to honor their contributions to the story of the Lone Star State. Now therefore be it resolved that the Senate of the 89th Texas Legislature hereby recognize March 6, 2025 as Pearsall Day at the state capitol and extend a warm welcome to the visiting delegation.
Chair recognizes Senator Gutierrez to speak on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, if I can get your attention to the northwest side of the gallery, we have some great folks from Pearsall. If I can get y'all to stand up, that'd be fantastic. There you are. And I'll introduce some of those folks in a minute. But I got to tell you about Pearsall. But before I tell you about Pearsall, I want to tell you why we resolve to honor all these communities. I was in Mineola, in Senator Hughes' district, not a few years back. And I told the senator, there's these cattle up there, they're called Belties. They were white in the middle, black on each end, and I'd never seen anything like it. I had to go Google it and find out what it was. And as I was in his community in the courthouse, I noticed all the trees and all the big thicket that I found out and read about. And I've been up to Dumas, Texas, and I've seen what they do in Dumas. I've been into Abilene, where we have the stealth bomber housed in an Air Force base in Abilene. And so we honor our communities for their incredible contributions. And for those of us that don't understand and know the contributions of Pearsall, Texas, outside of peanuts and so many other wonderful agricultural products, they are the engine behind the success of the economy of the state of Texas through our oil and gas production. And so for that, we owe them a big round of applause. You can clap. They have the largest, they have so many linemen in the community, so many people that are working our oil and gas industry, so many people that are tending to our crops from the food that we eat. So much goes on, Senator Kolkhorst, in your community in Central Texas. My goodness, the best damn ice cream in the world in Senator Kolkhorst's district, isn't that right? And that's why we honor our Texas communities, and that's why we honor you. You also had a guy grow up there named George Strait. He's pretty cool too. We all love George Strait. And so before I terminate here, I want to be able to thank Mayor Ben Briscoe. Mayor, thank you so much, Mayor, for coming. City Councilwoman Aurora Garza, Councilwoman Rachel Garza, Councilwoman Sonia Hernandez, Councilwoman Tiffany Talamantes, Councilwoman Brenda Trevino. A lot of girl power in Pearsall, Texas, let me tell you. City Councilman Ramiro Trevino, the city manager, Fred Reyes, and so many of the city staff, thank you for coming. I know that Somerset is here with you as well, and so we want to thank the mayor of Somerset, Lydia Hernandez. And so members, please thank these folks for their production to our country, the production to our state. When you think of Pearsall, think of the beginning of Eagleford Shale, really the heart of Eagleford Shale. And so thank you so much. We appreciate you, and welcome to your capital. I move adoption. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Chair lays out the following resolution. The Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 211 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo, recognizing March 6, 2025 as Jim Wells County Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Senator Hinojosa from Hidalgo.
Thank you, Mr. President, members. Today here at the state capitol, we have Jim Wells County Day. Jim Wells County has a rich history, becoming part of Texas after the Republic gained independence from Mexico, 1836. This is how long the history of Jim Wells goes back in this area. The area developed significantly with the arrival of the railroads and became a major cattle shipping point. The county has played a key role in the development of southwestern Texas. Its economy has benefited from industries such as oil, ranching, cattle shipping, agriculture, hunting, and cotton and grain production. The history of Jim Wells County is preserved at the South Texas Museum, a designated Texas historic landmark. The citizens take pride in the unique heritage and contribution to the state of Texas. Jim Wells County is in central South Texas, so it's one of the main hubs between Corpus Christi, Laredo, and the Rio Grande Valley. But just a little bit of history. Jim Wells County is famous, or maybe infamous, for Box 13 that produced the winning margin for former LBJ president when he first ran for the United States Senate. So Jim Wells has a real long, colorful history that is really part of our culture and really part of what made Texas great. So members, I'm going to read the names of those from the delegation who are visiting our great state of Texas. As always, We have Jim Wells County Judge Pedro P. Trevino Jr. Could you please stand up, Judge? We have County Commissioner Jorge Aguilar, Commissioner Aguilar. We have our County Clerk, J.C. Perez. We have our County Attorney, Michael Guerra. Michael, good seeing you again, as always. We have our District Attorney, Carlos Omar Garcia. These are the key leaders from Jim Wells County, and members, I would ask you to please welcome them to their capital on Jim Wells County Day.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Chair lays out the following resolution. Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 206 by Menendez et al., commemorating the 30th anniversary of Methodist Healthcare Ministries of South Texas.
Chair recognizes Senator Menendez on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It is my distinct honor to welcome and recognize the members of Methodist Healthcare Ministries who've joined us here today in the gallery, in the North Gallery. We have a handful of board members who I'm going to introduce in a little bit, but I want to tell you a little bit about why Methodist Healthcare Ministries is so important to our state. And I did say state, not just the city. They were established in 1995 and have since become the largest nonprofit healthcare provider in the city and 26 surrounding counties. In addition to things you'd obviously consider normal would be a wide variety of services, medical, dental, counseling, case management, social services, family wellness, nursing to patients across all of those communities. But in addition to that, they've provided over $82 million in community grants, strategic initiatives, and policy advocacy partnerships in order to combat food insecurity, in order to improve digital inclusion and promote economic mobility of the members of our communities. Methodist Healthcare Ministries, in collaboration with the San Antonio Metro Health Department, started the Healthy Corner Store initiative in order to combat food insecurity and provide fresh and affordable produce to those food deserts in our underserved communities. They've done such an amazing job that in 2024, they received the Governor's Texas Award for Performance Excellence from the Quality Texas Foundational Regional Program, being only one of two of those awards given for their service. So as you can see, for the past 30 years, they've provided professional, compassionate care to countless members of the San Antonio and the 26 surrounding counties communities. It's clear that the administrative staff take great pride on their excellent record of service and support. I believe that they are a pivotal organization within our region in this state that's dedicated to the betterment of the healthcare services, providing compassionate support to those in underserved communities. Members, I understand that there are some folks who signed on who may also want to add to this, but before I hand this over, I want to introduce a handful of the board members who were able to make the trip today. The board president, Mr. Mike Porter, as I call you, if you're able to, please rise. Mr. Jimmy Garcia, Dr. Jackie Pugh, Dr. Pendleton Wickersham, who, if you need one of the best rheumatologists in the country, that's the guy for you. Erica Sosa, Reverend Virgilio Vasquez Garcia, and they're joined by their COO, Xochitl Hurtado, and the Vice President of Policy and Advocacy, whom many of us have known for many years, our friend Chris Yanis. Members, it is my distinct honor and pride to call Methodist Healthcare's ministry part of our community, and I, with great pride, present Senate Resolution 206, and I yield to any other members who have comments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator Flores on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I rise in support of Senate Resolution 206. Thank you all very much for the services that you provide. They're so critical there at Methodist South in Jourdanton. And I've personally been beneficiary of the great professional care there when needed, and family members as well. But what you do for our community and the investment that you make hasn't gone unnoticed. And everything that you do there, every minute that you spend taking care of your fellow Texans, and especially those in areas like mine, south of San Antonio and the rural areas, is so critical to our communities and quality of life. Thank you, and God bless you, and welcome to the Senate.
Chair recognizes Senator Campbell to speak on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to join Senator Menendez and Senator Flores to say welcome. Thank you for what you do. As a physician, it's very important, and to be able to recognize a group of excellence in the healthcare system and bringing the ministry of Christ to everybody. You know, when people are ill, we see them at their worst, and that's when they need the best of us. So thank you for that, and thank you, Senator Menendez, for allowing me to be part of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator Gutierrez to speak on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Everybody from Methodist, we really appreciate everything you do for our community and taking care of those that obviously cannot help themselves. And we've got to continue to do more for you in this building to try to make sure that you deliver the service of healthcare in a real way. So thank you all for coming, and welcome to your Capitol.
Chair recognizes Senator Menendez to close on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, thank you for your kind words. It's a small token of our appreciation that we can offer you as a great deal of pride for the hard work that you and so many do on behalf of our communities. $82 million in grants, 30 years of service, reaching out and not just taking care of people when they're unhealthy, but making sure they stay healthy. To many more years of service, we move adoption of this resolution and support you in any way we can. Thank you, Mr. President, members.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Senator Gutierrez for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, if I can direct your attention, I believe, to the south end of the gallery, we want to welcome, we mentioned them earlier, our friends from Somerset, Texas, also a great agricultural producer, a great contributor to our Texas economy, tremendous oil and gas production as well. We want to thank Mayor Lydia Hernandez for coming. Mayor, are you here with us? There you are. How are you? Alderman Patrick Orozco, thank you for coming. City Administrator James Cano, I know he's here with us. City Finance Director Rebecca Morin, City Secretary Angie Mojica, and Alderman Jonathan Gutierrez. No relation, but thank you all so much for coming, and welcome to your Texas Capitol. You're here, estás en tu casa. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
Chair lays out the following resolution. The Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 207 by Parker, recognizing March 6, 2025 as Texas Prevention Network Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Senator Parker to speak on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, it's a true privilege to be here today to recognize the incredible work of the Texas Prevention Network. It's an incredible group, and they're here having their annual Network Day at the State Capitol. Since its founding in 2012 by TexProtects, this network has brought together over 250 organizations across Texas that are all united in one common goal: to prevent child abuse and neglect and support families that are in need. These organizations, including Hope Cottage, Any Baby Can, Buckner International, and the United Way of Metropolitan Dallas, are doing life-changing work every single day to keep children safe, healthy, and thriving in our great state. For more than a decade, the Texas Prevention Network has been a vital resource for those who are on the front lines of child welfare. They've built strong partnerships, they've shared knowledge, and provided essential support to ensure that families in every corner of our great state have the resources they need to stay together and succeed. Today, as we celebrate the Texas Prevention Network, let's remember that work is more than just about protecting children. It's about creating a stronger, healthier, and more compassionate Texas for all of us. I want to extend a warm welcome to the representatives of the Texas Prevention Network to your state capitol. Thank you for everything you do every day to protect all of our children in this great state. Your work is absolutely critical to the future of our state. And with that, members, thank you, Mr. President. Members, I move adoption of the resolution.
Is there an objection to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Senator Parker for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, just very simply want to recognize some of the wonderful folks that are here today from the town of Flower Mound. We have our great mayor, Cheryl Moore, and the council, our city manager. Flower Mound is an amazing place to live. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's really an incredible place in the heart of Denton County. And it's been the home for my wife, Beth, and I, and our children for almost 30 years. It's incredible, the quality of life it has, some of the most incredible schools and parks. The quality of life is second to none. So I want to just recognize our wonderful leadership from Flower Mound. It's an amazing place to live, highly recognized, not just in Texas, but around the country as one of the finest communities anywhere in the nation. So I want to just salute you all for everything you do, keeping Flower Mound so spectacular. Thank you all for being here and letting us recognize you here in your Texas Senate. Thank you all for being here. Let's give them a big round of applause, everybody.
Chair lays out the following resolutions. The secretary will read the resolutions.
SR 51 by King, SR 212 by Nichols, SR 217 by Schwartner, SR 218 by Nichols, SR 219 by King, and SR 225 by West.
This is a voice vote. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The resolutions are adopted. Members, if there's no objection, I'd like to postpone the reading and referral of bills and resolutions until the end of today's calendar. Hearing no objection, it's so ordered. Members, that concludes the morning call.
Senator Alvarado is recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 790.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business to take up and consider Senate Bill 790. Mr. President and members, currently, if there is a discrepancy between a tenant and an owner on a water or wastewater bill, the case must be resolved by the PUC through a drawn-out, sometimes very long contested case hearing process. Senate Bill 790 allows the PUC to create a simplified complaint resolution process for water and wastewater disputes. This change will allow the PUC to resolve small bill disputes between tenants and owners quickly and more efficiently. Mr. President, I move on the on suspending the rules.
Senator Parker, for what purpose?
The question of the author.
Senator Alvarado, do you yield?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Senator, for the bill. Appreciate you bringing it forward. I know we've taken up this bill, I think, identically, pretty close to it in the past, and it went through the Senate. Some have said they're concerned about due process protections in your bill for the landlord. That's one of the criticisms or concerns that have been raised. Is that how you see it? What's your legislative intent, I guess, on the bill? I just wanted to get your perspective on that.
Thank you, Senator Parker, and I appreciate us having some previous conversations, and this bill did pass 31-0 last session. Senate Bill 790 does not remove due process. It simply allows for a more efficient resolution of minor billing disputes without forcing all cases into a lengthy contested case hearing. The PUC, through rulemaking authority, will oversee the process and establish fair procedures through its rulemaking authority. Both the landlords and the tenants still have the opportunity to present evidence and dispute before the PUC, which is a public meeting.
Very good. Thank you, Senator. I appreciate you clarifying that. That was one of the things that was out there, and I just wanted to hear it directly from you as the author of the bill. Thank you very much for answering the question.
And thank you for your support, Senator Parker.
Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 790. The Secretary read the caption.
Senate Bill 790 by Alvarado relating to the procedure for resolving certain customer complaints before the Public Utility Commission of Texas.
Senator Alvarado, we recognize for a motion.
So moved, Mr. President.
Senator Alvarado moves. So moved, and Senator Alvarado moves passage to engrossment.
Senator Alvarado moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing none, the bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Alvarado, you recognize for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the 3-day constitutional rule on Senate Bill 790.
Senator Alvarado moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Flores, Gutierrez, Hagan, Hall, Hancock.
Be 28 yeas and 2 nays. The motion is passed to engrossment. Or 3-day rule. The rules are suspended, excuse me. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage of Senate Bill 790. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 790 relating to procedure for resolving certain customer complaints before the Public Utility Commission of Texas.
Senator Alvarado, you recognize for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for final passage.
Senator Alvarado moves final passage of Senate Bill 790. The Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Flores.
28 yeas and 2 nays. The bill is finally passed. Congratulations, Senator Alvarado.
Mr. President and members.
Senator Zaffirini, you recognize for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 72.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, members, I move to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business in order to take up and consider at this time Senate Bill 72, which relates to the regulation of private passenger vehicle rental companies. Members, this is a simple bill that would align the business code to extend the length of a rental agreement from 30 to 180 days under the business code to allow persons to obtain a damage waiver for the rental during that period and ensure a person receives a pro rata refund for a damage waiver if the vehicle is returned early. Mr. President, I move suspension.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 72. Is there objection? Hearing none, the rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 72. The Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 72, relating to the regulation of private passenger vehicle rental companies.
Senator Zaffarini, you are recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move passage to engrossment.
Senator Zaffarini moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing none, the bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Zaffarini, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Thank you, Mr. President. So moved.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the 3-day rules. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton.
30 ayes and 0 nays. The rules are suspended. The chair lays out on third reading and final passage of Senate Bill 72. The Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 72, relating to the regulation of private passenger vehicle rental companies.
Senator Zaffarini, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move final passage.
Senator Zaffarini moves final passage of Senate Bill 72. The Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart.
30 ayes and 0 nays. The bill is finally passed. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Dean
Mr. President
Zaffarini.
and members.
Senator Zaffarini, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 703.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, I move to suspend the Senate's regular order of business and the constitutional order of business in order to take up and consider at this time Senate Bill 703, which is a companion to House Bill 2776 by Representative McLaughlin. Members, it relates to the criminal and licensing consequences for the commission of certain offenses by massage establishments, massage schools, massage therapists, and massage therapy instruments. It's a cleanup bill requested by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation to close loopholes. Generally, it would align state law with federal law by removing the imprecise term another sexual offense as a trigger for license and eligibility and listing specific offenses, including indecent assault. Mr. President, I move suspension.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the regular order of business on Senate Bill 703. Is there objection? The rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 703. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 703, relating to the criminal and licensing consequences for the commission of certain offenses by massage establishments, etc.
Senator Zaffarini, recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move passage to engrossment.
Senator Zaffarini moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing none, the bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Zaffarini, you are recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Thank you, Mr. President. So moved.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton.
30 ayes and 0 nays. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage of Senate Bill 703. The Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 703, relating to criminal and licensing consequences for the commission of certain offenses by massage establishments.
Senator Zaffarini, you are recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move final passage.
Senator Zaffarini moves final passage of Senate Bill 703. The Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The bill is finally passed. Congratulations, Senator Zaffarini.
Thank you, Mr. President and members.
Senator Swertner, you are recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on committee substitute for Senate Bill 21.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I move to suspend the Senate's regular order of business and constitutional order of business to take up and consider at this time Senate Bill 21. Members, Senate Bill 21 creates the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, sending a clear message regarding the multi-decade spendthrift stewardship of our country by the federal government and its resultant inflation. Individuals, investment firms, and sovereigns have reacted to excessive spending by seeking alternatives to fiat currency. These alternatives have historically included gold and land, but now include cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, referenced as digital gold by the United States Treasury, has been a recognized asset in the financial markets. Besides individuals holding Bitcoin directly or through custodianship on exchanges, Multiple publicly traded SEC-regulated Bitcoin ETFs are now traded on U.S. stock exchanges. Bitcoin offers unique advantages in the digital era to its limited supply and decentralized nature, in contrast to the federal government, which has an unlimited printing press and centralized control of the currency. Senate Bill 21 creates the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve as a special fund managed under the Comptroller of Public Accounts. This bill will allow Texas to diversify our investment approach, participate competitively in the evolving digital financial economy, and leverage the benefits of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Under Senate Bill 21, the Comptroller is authorized to acquire, exchange, manage, and retain investments of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies with a market capitalization of at least $500 billion. All assets in the reserve will be managed under the same prudent investor standard currently followed by the Comptroller. The bill has custodianship provisions for the safeguarding our assets, and the bill also creates a Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Advisory Committee to provide current cryptocurrency investment expertise and recommendations to the Comptroller. And lastly, the bill requires a biennial report be submitted to the legislature and published online for public access. Thank you. I'll be happy to take questions or move to suspend the regular order of business and all cautionary rules to take up and consider Senate Bill 21.
Senator Gutierrez, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield for a few questions?
Senator Schwertner, will you yield?
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Schwertner. I don't own any Bitcoin or any kind of alt currency, so I don't know much about this, so you'll have to educate me a little bit. First off, do we have any other such reserves that we're using Texas taxpayer money and saying we're going to buy some other kind of currency here and hold it in some vault? Do we have any such reserve that you know of?
The Comptroller operates a number of special funds, as well as obviously the Treasury of the state of Texas. In those various funds, the Comptroller can purchase exchange-traded funds and other strategic investments, including land and hard assets and other currencies. They're well delineated, and there are many funds that the Comptroller oversees.
There was a gold reserve we established not too long ago, right?
There was, yes. There is a gold reserve located, I believe, in Cedar Park, if I'm not mistaken.
Does it surprise you that the state of Texas has put no such gold in that gold reserve?
Senator, it doesn't. I wish they would have, to be quite frank.
I checked this
believe
morning.
in hard assets and believe that there is a place for the state to participate in acquiring hard assets to maintain a very strong financial position.
Well, why not euros? I mean, here you're talking about Bitcoin. Why not euros? Why not rupees? Why not Russian rubles?
Senator, I believe that the Comptroller and certain accounts, as well as ERS and TRS, can invest in various ways that do access foreign currencies, for instance, in the example you gave.
The thing is, foreign currencies are always backstopped, or at least compared to the United States dollar. Isn't that true?
They're backstopped by the full faith and credit of that sovereign. And I would argue that the full faith and credit of all sovereigns over time eventually goes to its natural worth, which is the paper that money is printed on. Certainly there have been rises of currencies and falls of currencies over time. The dollar had its ascendancy, and in my opinion, the dollar is in decline because of the spendthrift manner in which our federal budget has been handled over many, many decades by many, many administrations.
But stocks are regulated. We talked about stocks earlier, that are managed by the comptrollers. Those are regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission, correct?
That's correct. They are, stocks are SEC listed and regulated securities of publicly traded companies.
And there is no such regulatory agency for crypto in the United States or in the state of Texas?
The regulation of cryptocurrency is done by the blockchain, which is a decentralized manner in which the accounting mechanism for the number of Bitcoin and who owns those Bitcoin is handled. And in some ways, it is more accountable because it has that decentralized nature versus a centralized regulatory apparatus, either provided by a nation or a in this case, a regulatory entity called in the United States, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
I don't mean to be a smartass here. I mean, what is a blockchain? Is that a group of people? Is that a computer? How is this regulated?
The blockchain is a digital mechanism of accounting and transference of ownership of the digital currency.
So it's like a robot? Is that fair? I mean, we have robots now regulating themselves here?
It's not a robot.
Not a robot.
It's not a robot.
Is it up in the cloud? We hear a lot about the cloud. Is it up in the cloud?
It's a digital mechanism of accounting, just as with the U.S. Treasury and other countries. You don't have stacks of dollar bills in safes like we did in the medieval times. What we have is the digital currency, digital economy, in which accounting and mechanisms are handled by ones and zeros.
Well, now time out, because we just established that the SEC regulates stocks and bonds and treasuries. We just established, or at least we have not established this, but the U.S. dollar, I know you'd like to say it's the good faith and credit of the United States.
Full faith and credit,
Full
Senator.
faith, whatever that's worth. I think you said that before. I think it's worth a lot, number one. Every economy in the world is compared to the United States dollar.
At the current time.
And even our current currency, there's probably a stack of books that regulate what we do with the United States currency. Laws, correct?
There are certainly laws regarding the U.S. currencies. Does that make it more secure? Does that make it more solid long term? I would argue and put forth that because of central intervention and manipulation of the supply of currency, in this case the U.S. dollar, the ability to spend money through printing money has caused the dollar to fall in its value and fall in its worth and fall in the security and the confidence people have in the dollar.
And we're supposed to believe some crypto bros maybe. All I've heard is it's a blockchain and it's a computer, it's an algorithm, something. We're supposed to allow that algorithm, that computer, and a few dudes named Chuck, I don't know, some crypto bros, to regulate themselves?
Senator, I believe the digital financial economy, with Bitcoin being at the forefront, has proven itself over multi-year up and down cycles. It is now recognized as a financial asset by the United States Treasury. It has SEC publicly regulated ETFs that trade that, and it is now being advanced as a mechanism to deal with and have an alternative to fiat currency during times of inflation. That's why we see at the federal level, President Trump put forth on his first day, I believe, an executive order setting up the cryptocurrency. I want to get the exact term for you, Senator. The Presidential Working Group on Digital Asset Markets, and then, of course, a day after tomorrow, there will be an actual summit at the White House regarding digital assets and cryptocurrencies and the potential advancement of a strategic national digital asset stockpile. In addition, Senator, there are 32 other states that are looking at similar legislation. I want Texas to lead in this, to lead in the digital financial economy. And I think it is worthwhile that Texas expands its treasury options, financial options, when it comes to the store of value. In this case, expanding it to digital assets, in this case, Bitcoin.
This is a dumb question. Can you buy a pizza with crypto?
If the owner of the person or the person selling the pizza takes cryptocurrency and as a means of exchange, you can.
You know, I asked many of my constituents in the last few days, both rich and poor. And, you know, we don't need to get into how rich or how poor they were. If they had any of these such alternative currencies, not one said yes. I've talked to other members on this floor if they own crypto. I won't name their names. Not one has told me yes. I don't know, and you don't have to answer whether you own crypto. That's okay. And I'm glad you brought up President Trump, because on Sunday he said he was going to take $500 million of U.S. taxpayer dollars and go off and create this reserve that you're talking about. Do you think that that's a good place, a good place to be able to protect our dollars? $500 million of taxpayer dollars. You haven't even told us how much you want to do.
This sets up the reserve. It does not appropriate money. As you're aware, Senator, the appropriation process goes to the Finance Committee. Regarding your question regarding federal stockpiles, I would be much more positive regarding what is occurring in the DOGE evaluation of overall spending at the federal level, to where we get ourselves back to a balanced budget and a sound footing when it comes to our revenue versus what we spend. As you're aware, we are a deficit finance nation. Our budget as the U.S. federal government is somewhere around $6.9 trillion, and we only bring in $4.9 trillion. And Senator, I know you agree with me that we shouldn't spend 35, 40% more than we take in, because that leads to deficits, it leads to inflation, it leads to debt, and it leads to a declining economy and a weaker dollar.
And you think that buying crypto is the solution to all that?
Senator, that's not the solution to overspending. The solution to overspending is voting in individuals in Congress that will pass a balanced budget amendment, and also having stewardship from a presidential level regarding cutting wasteful spending. And I applaud our president. I know you probably do too when it comes to cutting of wasteful spending at the federal level. And so that is probably the best way of handling inflation. When it comes to the states and individuals and entities wanting to find alternatives because they worry about inflation, that's where this type of legislation comes in.
Well, you know, Senator, and I apologize, I don't want to get off into the weeds of budget deficits and firing 80,000 VA employees. You brought it up, but I don't want to get down that road.
I have no authority over VA employees,
I think
Senator.
that we should stick to the subject matter at hand.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Bybit?
Bybit. I am familiar. That's the exchange, correct?
That's correct. Are you familiar that in October, they lost $1.5 billion, went poof out of the algorithm cloud, or what did you call it, blockchain, just gone?
It wasn't gone from the blockchain, Senator. I think you're mistaken in that. The Bybit did have an attack on the actual exchange, but that is completely separate than an attack on the blockchain. In fact, the blockchain has never been broken. Exchanges have certainly been attacked and assets taken from them, just as banks have been robbed over the years, and financial malfeasance has occurred in the financial markets. So yes, bad things happen, but it was not a fault of the algorithm and blockchain.
Members, Bybit lost $1.5 billion because they were using a over-the-counter software that you'd buy online for their safety protocols. And they lost $1.5 billion of the few investors that bought this. Isn't it true, Senator, that only 90% of the Bitcoin that's owned is only owned by 10% of the Bitcoin holders? Is that not right?
There are certain addresses on the blockchain that own more than others. I don't know if that number is correct, Senator.
Is Bitcoin counter-cyclical? Does it go up when the economy is bad? Does it go down when the economy is up? It isn't, is it?
I don't know.
It has not ever proven to be yet still, correct?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
It has not yet proven to be counter-cyclical.
Senator, I don't really have much input on that question.
You've taken us down this road saying that this is the path to, if in a down economy, we've got a Bitcoin reserve. That's what it says in your bill analysis. That's what you said.
It's a retort and a store of value in an asset that is decentralized in its accounting mechanism, and finite in its number, 21 million Bitcoin.
The fact is, members, Bitcoin is not counter-cyclical. When economies are bad, it is down. Just the other day, when President Trump announced his $500 million of Bitcoin and Sol and a few others, they went up so high, and a few days later it went down so low. It is very volatile, is it not, Senator?
Like all financial assets, there is volatility associated with Bitcoin and other crypto assets. As you are, I'm sure, aware, back in 2000 to 2002, the QQQ, the Nasdaq, which is one of the largest exchanges, went down 78%. So assets can fall in price. 2 years ago, in 2022, when interest rates went from 0.25% to 525 basis points, 5.25%, long-term treasuries went down over 20%. So a long-term treasury has pronounced volatility when interest rates are changing dramatically, as occurred in 2022. And at that time, ERS and TRS took a big hit because of that. They held lots of treasuries. So yes, there's volatility associated with Bitcoin. There's volatility associated with any financial asset. There's volatility associated with the home you own that you just don't know about.
I have a few more questions, Mr. President. Senator, what is Bitcoin halving? H-A-L-V-I-N-G. Can you explain that to us?
Yes, that's when the number of Bitcoin change in number and double, essentially. That occurs about every 3 years on the blockchain.
And it occurs by the Bitcoin mining. And I don't even want to get into the whole Bitcoin mining craziness and the sapping of energy and oil and gas reserves and the natural gas that these big giant servers use. We don't need to go there. But tell me what happens with this halving. Is it multiplying? Is it compressing?
The number of Bitcoin expand by doubling up to a finite number of 21 million.
And what happens to the value of Bitcoin then? Does it go down?
It depends upon the supply and demand of Bitcoin at that time.
In 2040, this halving is projected to be infinitesimal. What do you think the value will be then, Senator?
Well, when you have something that is finite and something that is scarce and something that is wanted, the natural tendency is for that substance, whatever it is, to go up in value. If you're in the middle of a desert, a little bottle of water would be worth quite a bit of money. That happens in sporting goods and in sporting arenas and in other areas. So the value of something is dependent upon supply and demand, and because there's only a finite number of whatever it is, land, gold, Bitcoin, values are not responsive to the making of more of it, because you only have so much land, so much gold, so much Bitcoin.
Well, Senator, I'm not the sharpest knife in the kitchen, that's for damn sure. My father used to say something vulgar about Socrates. I won't give that to you today, but I'm sorry. This is just not something that the vast majority of my constituents have or use, the vast majority of people in this room use. It is highly volatile. It is a huge concern that the market goes up and down, and members, it is completely unregulated. And if you can't buy a pizza with it, then you should all be concerned. You should all be concerned. And so, thank you, Mr. President. I won't be voting for this bill today, but thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Senator.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Parker, you're recognized. For what purpose?
I'd like to ask the author a question.
Senator Schwertner, do you yield?
I yield.
Well, thank you, Senator Schwertner. Appreciate your leadership in bringing this bill forward. There are a lot of comments back and forth in the conversation with Senator Gutierrez. I wanted to just address a couple of things just for the record. First and foremost, I think it's very important for people to realize that crypto in Texas is regulated by our banking commissioner, that we put in place a regulatory framework. In fact, I carried that bill, I think years ago. It was House Bill 4484 that established, if you will, our framework for digital assets. So I think it's important just to set the record straight in that regard. I also think it's important for folks to understand that there are multiple strategies that we're following with regard to strengthening the autonomy of America and the autonomy of Texas when it comes to our financial balance sheet. And I think principally, when you think about where we are as a nation, where we are in 2025, we're all concerned with the dollar maintaining its position as the reserve currency of the world. There's no question that because of the debt that America has incurred, that we have to get that under control. And everyone understands that. That's a bipartisan issue. Everyone understands we got to get that debt under control. And so how do we as a nation and a state project hegemonic influence globally? Well, you do that through innovation. You do that through leading in new types of asset classes. And so in my mind, the way I've always looked at digital assets, Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, is that you're really adding an asset to the American balance sheet. And I think that's really what we're doing here, is it not, Senator? Potentially adding, if you will, strength to our balance sheet here in Texas, that we're really providing additional ability for Texas to be autonomous economically, and that we're really providing a hedge against bad monetary policy that has cost America and Texans so dearly with the horrible inflation. That's really what we're doing with this reserve, is it not?
I think what you said was very eloquent. Financial stability, a hedge, autonomy, financial strength is, and I think we do need as a state to be forward-thinking in what we do from a financial point of view. Other states have seen this. I think Texas should lead on this. I think this bill has the necessary safeguards regarding the comptroller, the safeguarding of the asset, the advisory committee. We're starting small from a budgetary standpoint. If the Senate so chooses and the House agrees to put any amount of money in the reserve. But the discussion needs to happen because Bitcoin is a proven asset in the financial markets, well traded, really one of the highest volume traded assets when it comes to the ETFs that hold Bitcoin. And really, I would say people that don't know much about this are behind the curve regarding finances and dealing with inflationary pressures long term. You cannot expect to put your money in a bank account, and Texas cannot expect to put their money in a 1% savings account and keep up with inflation. We need to be forward-thinking, as individuals are forward-thinking when it comes to financial assets and the investment of those financial assets.
100%. We've got to allow our fund managers to be in a position to succeed, to keep Texas vibrant, to get a great, outstanding return. And I think it's so important that everyone realizes this is 100% in alignment with what President Trump is doing at the federal level, establishing right now the crypto, if you will, reserve, if you will, strategic reserve for America. We are 100% in alignment with that here in Texas. And a comment was made earlier, do we have other stockpiles or other reserves? And the answer is absolutely, at the federal level and the state level. We should encourage more of that. And one of the things that also came up in conversation, of course, was the topic of our gold bullion exchange. I remember carrying that with one of my colleagues in the House years ago and passing it out of committee. Why? Because we wanted Texas to lead. We wanted to have the ability to play in all of these new innovative areas where Texans could get an advantage. And so I would love to see, personally, more Texans go and take their gold and use our gold bullion depository. And I would encourage Texas, our comptroller and our comptroller's office, to make additional investments in gold as well. It's smart that we diversify and that we focus on all of these various opportunities to strengthen America's position, and in particular Texas's position in a global world that is so volatile.
Thank you, Senator. Well-spoken comments.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Blanco, for what purpose?
Questions for the author.
Senator Schwertner, do you yield?
I yield.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate it. Obviously, we heard this bill in Business and Commerce, and I think, as you know, I support the bill. And I think that this helps hedge against inflation and monetary instability. I want to focus in on, and you may have mentioned earlier, but inside the bill, you've built in a section that has market capitalization requirements. Can you talk about the importance of that section? And you're talking about market capitalization of at least $500 billion. Can you walk us through that? Because I think that's an important piece.
Yes.
That lends to some security in what we're doing here.
Right. Market capitalization pertains to how much value that asset has when combined all together. And just as a point of reference, Senator, I appreciate your question. All assets in the world are about $700 trillion. And gold, if you add up all the gold in the world, it's about $20 trillion. And Bitcoin right now is 1.8 trillion dollars when you add up all the Bitcoin and total it and put what is it worth. There are other cryptocurrencies, as we know. The next one down would be Ethereum, and that is around $250 billion. So it would fall below that level. So the $500 billion threshold means that that asset has had enough individuals buy that asset, value it as a store of value for a period of time, and has dispersion amongst financial markets and individuals and countries to where it has enough what I would call staying power. With Bitcoin in particular, you've had now 3 major up and down cycles, with the low of each cycle being higher and higher and higher. And as such, I think it has shown itself and proven itself to be the most preferred because of its limited supply, adaptability in the markets, and overall market cap.
So what you're saying is that we're not just purchasing any cryptocurrency that's out there. We're looking at those that are reliable, steady, and there aren't that many. There may be a handful of that. So what you're looking at is purchasing those that have been consistently reliable.
That's right, Senator.
Great.
Well, great
Thank
question.
you.
I appreciate
you. Thank you.
Clarification.
Senator Schwertner moves suspension of the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business. On committee substitute for Senate Bill 21, the secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart.
25 ayes and 5 nays. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading committee substitute for Senate Bill 21. The secretary will read the caption.
Committee substitute Senate Bill 21 relating to the establishment and administration of the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve for the purpose of investing in cryptocurrency.
Senator Schwertner, you recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move passage to engrossment, committee substitute Senate Bill 21.
Senator Schwertner moves passage to engrossment. The secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton.
25 ayes and 5 nays. The bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Schwertner, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
So moved, Mr. President.
Senator Schwertner moves suspension of the 3-day rule. The secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Flores.
25 ayes and 5 nays. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage of committee substitute for Senate Bill 21. Secretary will read the caption.
Committee substitute Senate Bill 21 relating to the establishment and administration of the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve for the purpose of investing in cryptocurrency.
Senator Gutierrez, for what purpose?
To speak against whenever it's time.
You're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, members, thank you so much. I'm sorry, Mr. President. Members, thank you so much. Harken back to old times in the House. I apologize. Senator Schwertner and I both came from the House of Representatives. We call that the People's House. I've already said enough on this bill, and I don't need to say much more. But there are so many needs across this state. There's people, I mentioned Quitman and Mineola earlier. There's people in Mejia. There's people in Carthage. There's people in Dumas. There's people in El Paso and all about this state that don't have food to put on their table. They don't have health care to speak of. They don't have adequate housing. Auto insurance in this state is through the roof. In the last 5 years, our auto insurance has gone up 50%. Corporate profits and corporate greed have gone up like nobody's business. And yet here today, we're going to pass a bill, I suppose, that'll create some kind of reserve of some currency that the vast majority of Texans don't have. Not 99% of them, not 99.99% of Texans do not have this currency. We know that it is a highly volatile currency and admittedly an unregulated currency. And yet here we stand passing a bill to allow us to go and create this reserve as some kind of a backstop against bad economies, when everything that we have seen from Bitcoin and any other alternative coin shows us that it is not counter-cyclical. Unlike gold in a bad economy, gold is up here, the economy's down here. That doesn't happen with Bitcoin. When the economy's down, Bitcoin is down. And the fluctuations on this stuff is insanity. And everything that we've seen from this president and beyond has been nothing more than market manipulation for the few. And members, if you don't know what that means, market manipulation, tomorrow they'll say, Bitcoin passed the Texas Senate, and tomorrow Bitcoin will be up 15%. And then it'll be down the next day, 30%. Who knows? God knows. But we have so many real concerns in this state and so many of our citizens that are asking for real help. And the last thing that we need to do is go benefit some techno bro. I think that's what they call them. Because there's nothing about this that makes it some alternative coin, as they call it. It should be called klepto, not crypto. But that's where we are here today, creating a piece of legislation that doesn't help any one of our constituents in a real way. And so respectfully, Senator, and respectfully, members and Mr. President, I'm voting no here today.
Senator Schwertner, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Senators, for the discussions. Move final passage of Committee Substitute Senate Bill 21 to bring Texas into the digital currency era.
Senator Schwertner moves final passage of Committee Substitute for Senate Bill 21. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Flores.
Be 25 ayes and 5 nays. The bill is finally passed. Congratulations, Senator. The following motion in writing, Secretary will read the motion.
Motion in writing. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent for Senate Bill 964 relating to the appearance of a personal ID certificate issued to a non-citizen to be withdrawn from the Committee on Criminal Justice and re-referred to the Committee on State Affairs. Senator Flores, Chair Committee from which bill is being withdrawn. Senator Hughes, Chair Committee to which bill is being re-referred.
Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion's adopted. The President's desk is clear. Are there any announcements? Senator Hughes for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, and for those interested in the Senate Committee on State Affairs, meeting posted today for 11 o'clock or adjournment. That meeting will start at 1 p.m. here in the Senate chamber. State Affairs posted for today will be 1 o'clock here in the Senate chamber. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the Dean of the Senate for a highly privileged motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, pending the reading and referral of bills today, I move that the Senate recess until 2 p.m. Monday, March 10th for the reading and referral of bills. Upon the conclusion of reading and referral of bills on Monday, I further move that the Senate adjourn until 11 a.m. Tuesday, March 11th. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there objection? The chair hears none. The Senate stands in recess until 2 p.m. Monday, March the 10th for the reading and referral of bills. Upon the conclusion of the reading and referral of bills, the Senate will stand adjourned until 11 a.m. Tuesday, March the 11th.
Relating to agreements between sheriffs and the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement to enforce federal immigration laws to state affairs. Senate Bill 14 by King et al. Relating to the reforming procedure by which state agencies adopt rules and impose regulatory requirements to economic development. Senate Bill 15 by Betancourt et al. Relating to size and density requirements for residential lots in certain municipalities to local government. Senate Bill 24 by Campbell et al. Relating to the inclusion of an understanding of communist regimes and ideologies in essential knowledge and skills for social studies curriculum to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1346 by Hughes relating to prohibited sales to persons attempting to purchase all possible winning tickets in a lottery drawing to state affairs. Senate Bill 1347 by Hughes relating to the conduct of efficiency audits of state agencies to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1349 by Hughes relating to creating the criminal offenses of transnational repression and unauthorized enforcement of foreign law to state affairs. Senate Bill 1350 by Hughes relating to a commission to coordinate celebrations of the bicentennial anniversary of Texas independence to economic development. Senate Bill 1351 by Hinojosa of Nueces and Hinojosa of Hidalgo relating to the designation of a portion of U.S. Highway 281 in Hidalgo County as the Jose Rodriguez Lua Memorial Highway to transportation. Senate Bill 1352 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to the deadline for filing an application for certain ad valorem tax exemptions to local government. Senate Bill 1353 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to the licensing and regulation of pilots in the jurisdiction of the Pilot Board of a Navigation District to transportation. Senate Bill 1354 by Hughes relating to the minimum reimbursement amount for prescription drugs and devices to Health Benefit Plan Network, pharmacists to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1355 by Parker and Hagenbu relating to liquor sales on credit by the holder of a distiller's and rectifier's permit to a wholesaler to state affairs. Senate Bill 1356 by Parker relating to the Texas Alcohol Tourism Development Program to Economic Development. Senate Bill 1357 by Parker relating to a cancer clinical trial participation program to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1358 by Parker relating to prohibited local regulations regarding certain late night and overnight deliveries to food service establishments to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1359 by Parker relating to the creation, powers, duties, and financing of the Wise Regional Water District to Water, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs. Senate Bill 1360 by Colcourse relating to the labeling and sale of Texas honey to Water, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs. Senate Bill 1361 by Alvarado relating to the consolidation of the Small Business Disaster Recovery Loan Program to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1362 by Hughes relating to prohibiting the recognition, service, and enforcement of extreme risk protective orders to State Affairs. Senate Bill 1363 by Nichols relating to the collection, remittance, and administration of certain taxes on motor vehicles rented through a marketplace rental provider to Finance. Senate Bill 1364 by Nichols relating to the repeal of a wheelbase and horsepower restrictions for the state's passenger vehicle fleet to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1365 by Nichols relating to vehicle registration, license plates, and inspection reports to Transportation. Senate Bill 1366 by Nichols relating to the inclusion of information about construction or maintenance work zones in the curriculum of driver education and driving safety courses to Transportation. Senate Bill 1367 by Hughes relating to the appointment, duties, and removal of the state prosecuting attorney to State Affairs. Senate Bill 1368 by Miles relating to an emergency preparedness and contingency operations plan to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1369 by Hughes relating to the designation of a portion of State Highway 11 in Morris County as the Army Staff Sergeant Samuel T. Castle Memorial Highway to Transportation. Senate Bill 1370 by Parker and Huffman relating to the establishment of the Office of Medical Examiner in certain counties to Criminal Justice. Senate Bill 1371 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo relating to the operation of certain metropolitan transit authorities to Finance. Senate Bill 1372 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo relating to the access to the Crime Laboratory portal to Criminal Justice. Senate Bill 1373 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo relating to the process by which a hospital makes certain determinations regarding medical staff privileges to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1374 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo relating to the administration of epinephrine medication by public and private schools to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1375 by Paxton and Hagenbu relating to the continuation of healthcare provider participation programs in certain counties to local government. Senate Bill 1376 by Hughes relating to the supervision requirements of a code enforcement officer in training to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1377 by Perry relating to a grant program to provide financial assistance to qualified ambulance service providers to Finance. Senate Bill 1378 by Parker relating to the powers of certain non-resident sellers permit holders who also hold a winery permit to State Affairs. Senate Bill 1379 by Flores relating to increasing the criminal penalties for forgery to Criminal Justice. Senate Bill 1380 by Paxton relating to health benefit plan pre-authorization requirements for physicians and providers providing certain health care services to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1381 by Middleton relating to creating a program allowing the state to accept and use donated wind turbine blades to border security. Senate Bill 1382 by Middleton relating to the eligibility of certain school districts with outstanding debt for the guarantee of a bond by this permanent school fund to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1383 by Middleton and Johnson relating to the regulation of referral agencies for senior living communities to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1384 by Eckhart relating to the provision by a regional mobility authority of financial assistance for transportation projects of governmental entities to Transportation. Senate Bill 1385 by Huffman relating to the unlawful acquisition of certain weapons to Criminal Justice. Senate Bill 1386 by Huffman relating to testimony or the production of evidence before the legislature or a legislative committee to State Affairs. Senate Bill 1387 by Zaffarini relating to the membership of the Texas Groundwater Protection Committee to Water, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs. Senate Bill 1388 by Colcourse relating to family support services provided under a Health and Human Services Commission program to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1389 by Hall relating to the text of a ballot propositions for bond elections to local government. Senate Bill 1390 by Hall relating to enhancing the criminal penalties for burglary of a place of worship to Criminal Justice. Senate Bill 1391 by Hall relating to accessibility of certain forms the Department of State Health Services provides for public use to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1392 by Hall relating to newborn screening test for sex chromosome structure to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1393 by Hall relating to electronic health record requirements to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1394 by Hall relating to weight and tire load restrictions for the operation of a vehicle transporting ready-mixed concrete on a public highway to transportation. Senate Bill 1395 by Hall relating to the membership of the school district's local school health advisory council to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1396 by Hall relating to prohibiting the adoption or use of a national sexuality education standards in public schools to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1397 by Hall and Birdwell relating to the creation of an additional judicial district in Ellis County to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1398 by Colcourse relating to certain procedures in a suit affecting the parent-child relationship for a child placed in the conservatorship of the Department of Family and Protective Services to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1399 by Perry relating to fluid oil and gas waste and products and byproducts of that waste to natural resources. Senate Bill 1400 by Colcourse relating to measurable outcomes for certain transfer students for performance tier funding under the Public Junior College State Finance Program to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1401 by West relating to the creation of the Texas Mental Health Profession Pipeline Program to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1402 by West relating to group home registration with municipal police departments to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1403 by West relating to the collection, modification, and enforcement of child support to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1404 by West relating to requirements for certain orders and judgments rendered in a suit affecting the parent-child relationship to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1405 by Nichols and Hagenbu relating to increasing access to and reducing taxation of internet services to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1406 by Parker, relating to persons with the authority to donate a body to certain entities for the advancement of medical or forensic science to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1407 by Parker, relating to the withdrawal of certain deposits placed in escrow in connection with the purchase or reservation of a condominium unit to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1408 by Parker, relating to the designation of a portion of U.S. Highway 287 in Will Barker County as the Molly Mullins Memorial Highway to transportation. Senate Bill 1409 by Parker, relating to health benefits offered by institutions of higher education to students and their families to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1410 by Campbell relating to renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America state affairs. Senate Bill 1411 by Campbell relating to the use of artificial intelligence-based algorithms by health benefit plan issuers to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1412 by Nichols relating to late applications for the appraisal of land for ad valorem tax purposes to local government. Senate Bill 1413 by Nichols relating to procedure for amending or revoking certificates of public convenience and necessity issued to certain water utilities to water, agricultural, and rural affairs. Senate Bill 1414 by Zaffarini and Menendez relating to establishing the Texas State Seal of Bilingualism and Biliteracy for public school students to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1415 by Hughes relating to the sales tax exemption period for clothing, footwear, and certain school-related items to finance. Senate Bill 1416 by West relating to the required approval of certain hospital visits as a condition of release on parole or to mandatory supervision for certain releasees to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1417 by West relating to compensatory time and vacation leave accrued by an employee of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1418 by Campbell relating to the terminology used to refer to certain assessment instruments administered to public school students to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1420 by Nichols relating to the use by a county, municipality, or school district of public money for lobbying activities to state affairs. Senate Bill 1421 by West relating to less lethal force weapons, including a defense to prosecution for certain offenses involving the use of a less lethal force weapon by a peace officer to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1422 by Hughes relating to the designation of a portion of Farm to Market Road 852 in Upshur County as the Petty Officer Bill Mackin Bridge to transportation. Senate Bill 1423 by Hughes relating to the designation of a portion of Farm to Market Road 2275 in Gregg County as the Bill Stout Parkway to transportation. Senate Bill 1424 by Paxton relating to authorization by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board for certain public junior colleges to offer certain baccalaureate degree programs to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1425 by Paxton relating to the entitlement of certain municipalities to certain tax revenue associated with hotel and convention center projects to economic development. Senate Bill 1426 by Huffman relating to operation and management of the First Capitol State Historic Site and replica by the Texas Historical Commission. To finance, Senate Bill 1428 by Campbell relating to persons not eligible for employment in public schools and to measures to ensure public schools do not employ those persons. To education K through 16, Senate Bill 1429 by Hughes relating to insurer restrictions and duties regarding repair of a motor vehicle covered under an insurance policy to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1430 by Blanco relating to a requirement that certain students, interns, residents, and fellows receiving a clinical education at public or nonprofit hospitals be provided leave to undergo an annual comprehensive health examination to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1431 by Blanco relating to eligibility to participate in certain drug court programs to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1432 by Paxton relating to the prosecution of the offense of sexual assault to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1433 by Betancourt relating to the assertion of legislative privilege by the Attorney General in certain legal challenges to the constitutionality of state statutes to state affairs. Senate Bill 1434 by Betancourt relating to a prohibition on the use of public money by the school district to transport district students or employees to or from a polling place to state affairs. Senate Bill 1435 by Betancourt relating to notice provided to certain state and local officials regarding an appeal of a municipal order filed by a transmission and distribution utility in a rate-making proceeding to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1436 by Betancourt relating to accepting an early voting ballot voted by mail to state affairs. Senate Bill 1437 by Betancourt relating to the eligibility of certain individuals for certification as certain juvenile officers or employees of a juvenile facility to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1438 by Betancourt relating to the procedure for a periodic rate adjustment by an electric utility to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1439 by Betancourt relating to automatic recounts of certain elections to state affairs. Senate Bill 1440 by Betancourt relating to required reporting of certain discretionary prosecutorial decisions of prosecuting attorneys to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1441 by Betancourt relating to state agency employment openings and aptitude assessments to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1442 by Johnson relating to the establishment of a veterinarian client-patient relationship to water, agriculture, and rural affairs. Senate Bill 1443 by Hughes and Nichols relating to the continuation and operation of a healthcare provider participation district to local government. Senate Bill 1444 by Campbell relating to the authority of certain municipalities to receive certain tax revenue derived from hotel and convention center project to economic development. Senate Bill 1445 by Menendez relating to bullying and cyberbullying in public schools to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1446 by Menendez relating to the discontinuation, reduction, or impairment of water service during drought conditions to water, agriculture, and rural affairs. Senate Bill 1447 by Menendez and Zaffarini relating to standards adopted by the Texas Education Agency regarding the use of electronic devices and software applications by public schools to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1448 by Hughes relating to decedents, estates, and other matters involving probate courts to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1449 by Betancourt relating to the repeal of provisions authorizing certain taxing units in the year following the year in which a disaster occurs to local government. Senate Bill 1450 by Betancourt relating to third-party review of development documents and inspection of improvements required to be approved by a political subdivision to local government. Senate Bill 1451 by Flores relating to increasing the criminal penalty for the offense of stealing or receiving a stolen check or similar site order to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1452 by Betancourt relating to continuation elections for municipal management districts to local government. Senate Bill 1453 by Betancourt relating to the current debt rate and tax rate of a taxing unit for ad valorem tax purposes to local government. Senate Bill 1454 by Betancourt relating to the area of operation of a municipal housing authority to local government. Senate Bill 1455 by Hagenbu relating to the funding mechanism for the regulation of workers' compensation to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1456 by Hagenbu relating to the definition of firearm for purposes of certain criminal offenses to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1457 by Hagenbu relating to a district or county attorney participating as counsel in certain proceedings to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1458 by Hagenbu relating to the sequestration of a jury in a criminal case to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1459 by Campbell relating to public school policies regarding student possession of personal communication devices to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1460 by Campbell relating to the ethics violations registry maintained by the Texas Ethics Commission to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1461 by Perry relating to the administration authority and duties of the Health and Human Services Commission's Office of Inspector General to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1462 by Zaffarini relating to the placement on community supervision, including deferred adjudication community supervision of a defendant who is the primary caretaker of a child to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1463 by Hinojosa Hidalgo relating to the confidentiality of certain home address information and property tax appraisal records to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1464 by Hinojosa Hidalgo relating to a hearing on the refusal to issue or the revocation or suspension of a vehicle title to transportation. Senate Bill 1465 by Hinojosa Hidalgo relating to personal flotation device requirements for certain recreational vessels to water, agriculture, and rural affairs. Senate Bill 1466 by Hinojosa Hidalgo relating to the provision of prosthetic devices to certain Medicaid recipients to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1467 by Hinojosa Hidalgo relating to death records maintained by the Vital Statistics Unit of the Department of State Health Services to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1468 by Schwartner relating to the authority of the Board of Regents of the Texas A&M University System to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1469 by Hughes relating to a study on the feasibility of this state conducting a census of the residents of this state to finance. Senate Bill 1470 by Hughes relating to requiring the Department of Public Safety to share data for the purpose of maintaining the statewide voter registration list to state affairs. Senate Bill 1471 by Hall relating to the Rural Constable's Office Salary Assistance Grant Program to finance. Senate Bill 1472 by Hall relating to assisted living facilities allowing residents to designate an advocate to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1473 by Hall relating to early voting by mail on the ground of absence from the voter's county of residence to state affairs. Senate Bill 1474 by Hall relating to the procedure by which state agencies adopt rules, including legislative approval of certain rules proposed or adopted by state agencies to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1475 by Hall relating to annual continuing education requirements for county election officers to state affairs. Senate Bill 1476 by Hall relating to the regulation of real estate brokers, agents, inspectors, appraisers, and appraisal management companies to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1477 by Hall relating to a franchise tax credit for a taxable entity that participates in the Federal Electronic Verification of Employment Authorization Program to finance. Senate Bill 1478 by Hall relating to the removal of certain power facilities operated on leased property to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1479 by Hall relating to the duration of and process for adopting and renewing state agency emergency rules to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1480 by Hall relating to transporting an unsecured load to transportation. Senate Bill 1481 by Hall relating to the treatment for ad valorem tax purposes of land and equipment used for hydroponic farming to local government. Senate Bill 1482 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to the Rural Sheriff's Office and Constable's Office Salary Assistance Grant Programs to finance. Senate Bill 1483 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to the authority of certain municipalities to receive certain tax revenue derived from a hotel and convention center project to economic development. Senate Bill 1484 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to the marketing and sale of catfish to water, agriculture, and rural affairs. Senate Bill 1485 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to the route designation for the issuance of a permit for the movement of oversized and overweight vehicles to transportation. Senate Bill 1486 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to a limitation on the salary of superintendents and chief executive officers of school districts to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1487 by Perry relating to participation of an advanced practice registered nurse to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1488 by Hall relating to restricting research on potentially pandemic pathogens in this state to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1489 by Bettencourt relating to the governance of public institutions of higher education to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1490 by Bettencourt relating to adult high school charter program funding to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1491 by Zaffarini relating to operations of the Financial Crimes Intelligence Center to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1492 by Parker relating to housing finance corporations to local government. Senate Bill 1493 by Parker relating to lighting equipment requirements for motor vehicles to transportation. Senate Bill 1494 by Johnson and West relating to the authority of certain political subdivisions to change the date of their general elections to state affairs. Senate Bill 1495 by Schwartner relating to the establishment of an electric vehicle supply equipment advisory board to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1496 by Schwartner relating to the authority of certain municipalities to receive certain tax revenue derived from hotel and convention center project to economic development. Senate Bill 1497 by Nichols relating to the search of certain wireless communication devices by a peace officer to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1498 by Nichols relating to civil asset forfeiture of digital currency or other similar property to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1499 by Nichols relating to the operations of the Financial Crimes Intelligence Center to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1500 by Alvarado and Cook relating to written protocols for certain non-prescription drugs under Medicaid to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1500 1501 by Betancourt, relating to the allocation of proceeds from the issuance of general obligation bonds by political subdivisions to local government. Senate Bill 1502 by Betancourt, relating to the authority of the governing body of a school district to adopt an ad valorem tax rate that exceeds the district's voter approval tax rate to local government. Senate Bill 1503 by Betancourt, relating to the expansion of the territory of an emergency services district into the territory of a municipality to local government. Senate Bill 1504 by Middleton, relating to meetings of the Board of Directors of the Gulf Coast Authority to local government. Senate Bill 1506 by Parker, relating to the frequency with which the Board of Pardons and Paroles reconsiders inmates for release on parole to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1507 by Parker, relating to advanced air mobility to transportation. Senate Bill 1508 by Hagenbu, relating to certain political subdivisions publishing required notices by alternative media to local government. Senate Bill 1509 by Betancourt, relating to the authority of a municipality to regulate within its extraterritorial jurisdiction to local government. Senate Bill 1510 by Eckhart, relating to General Land Office and the Texas Department of Housing and Committee Affairs reviews of real property owned by the state to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1511 by Hinojosa of Nueces, relating to the provision of healthcare services by a freestanding emergency medical facility to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1512 by Hinojosa of Nueces, relating to the route designation for the issuance of a permit for the movement of oversized and overweight vehicles in certain counties to transportation. Senate Bill 1513 by Johnson. And Miles, relating to a program to provide assistance for certain retail electric customers to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1514 by Johnson, relating to certain energy consumption goals for institutions of higher education to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1515 by Johnson, relating to the expunction of all records and files related to arrests for certain decriminalized misdemeanor offenses to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1516 by Johnson, relating to the award of attorney's fees in an action involving the exercise of certain constitutional rights to state affairs. Senate Bill 1517 by Schwartner, relating to the authority of certain municipalities to receive certain tax revenue derived from a hotel and convention center project to economic development. Senate Bill 1518 by Schwartner, relating to the authority of certain municipalities to use certain tax revenue for hotel and convention center projects to economic development. Senate Bill 1519 by Campbell, relating to the issuance of the Public Utility Commission of Texas of a permit for the installation of certain electric energy storage equipment to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1520 by Campbell and Flores, relating to the establishment of a hike and bike trail to be known as the Bicentennial Trail to economic development. Senate Bill 1521 by Johnson, relating to the regulation of abortion and related matters to state affairs. Senate Bill 1522 by Perry, relating to the regulation of continuing care facilities to health and human services. Senate Bill 1523 by Middleton, relating to the discipline of certain public school students to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1524 by Middleton, relating to the collection and confidentiality of information regarding weapons in agency foster homes to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1525 by Menendez, relating to prior authorization for prescription drug benefits related to the treatment of chronic health conditions to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1526 by West, relating to reimbursing certain Department of Family Protective Service employees for certain legal expenses to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1527 by West, relating to the administration of contributions to and benefits under the public retirement system for police and firefighters to finance. Senate Bill 1528 by West, relating to reimbursing employees of the Texas Department of Family Protective Services for loss of or damage to personal property to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1529 by West, relating to participation in a deferred retirement option plan by members of the retirement system for police and firefighters to finance. Senate Bill 1530 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo, relating to the time period for which certain funds payable under a construction contract must be reserved for the benefit of mechanics lien claimants to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1531 by Hinojosa of Hidalgo, relating to the electronic payment of ad valorem taxes to local government. Senate Bill 1532 by Zaffarini, relating to the information required to be posted by the Texas Water Development Board on the board's internet website regarding the use of the State Water Implementation Fund of Texas to water, agriculture, and rural affairs. Senate Bill 1533 by Blanco, relating to the applicability of the law governing a grant program for public improvement projects for unincorporated communities in certain counties to local government. Senate Bill 1534 by Zaffarini and Parker, relating to a study and report by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board regarding health physics education in this state to economic development. Senate Bill 1535 by Zaffarini and Parker, relating to the establishment by the Texas Workforce Commission of an advanced nuclear energy workforce development program to economic development. Senate Bill 1536 by Zaffarini, relating to training on dementia and Alzheimer's disease for certain guardians to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1537 by Zaffarini, relating to the appointment of an interpreter in a criminal proceeding, to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1538 by Zaffarini, relating to the registration and regulation of court recorders by the Judicial Branch Certification Commission, to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1539 by Bettencourt, relating to requirements and procedures in the contest of an election on a proposed constitutional amendment, to state affairs. Senate Bill 1540 by Bettencourt, relating to maintaining the confidentiality of the personal information of election officials and their employees, to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1541 by Bettencourt, relating to state oversight of county elections following a county election audit, to state affairs. Senate Bill 1542 by Bettencourt, relating to maintaining the accuracy of information contained within the statewide voter registration system, to state affairs. Senate Bill 1543 by Campbell, relating to safety training for certain public school extracurricular activities, to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1544 by Hinojosa of Nueces, relating to member contributions to the Texas Municipal Retirement System, to finance. Senate Bill 1545 by Hinojosa of Nueces, relating to an annual occupational medical examination for firefighters, to local government. Senate Bill 1546 by Perry, relating to the appraisal for and ad valorem tax purposes of certain land on the basis of the land's productivity value, to local government. Senate Bill 1547 by Zaffarini, relating to fees charged by county clerks for certain property records, to local government. Senate Bill 1548 by Zaffarini, relating to the requirements for a petition proposing an amendment to the charter of a home rule municipality, to local government. Senate Bill 1549 by Zaffarini, relating to the frequency of county bail bond board meetings, to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1550 by Cook, relating to instruction in cardiopulmonary resuscitation in public schools, to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1551 by Cook, relating to the availability of automated external defibrillators at public schools, to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1552 by Hughes, relating to the fast growth allotment of the public school finance system, to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1553 by Flores, relating to the authority of certain counties to impose a hotel occupancy tax, to economic development. Senate Bill 1554 by Flores and Eckhart, relating to an alcoholic beverage tax credit for certain liquor or malt beverage byproducts donated for agricultural use, to state affairs. Senate Bill 1555 by Nichols, Alvarado, and Johnson, relating to a grant program to fund certain railroad grade separation projects, to transportation. Senate Bill 1556 by Flores, relating to the authority of certain municipalities to use certain tax revenue for hotel and convention center projects, to economic development. Senate Bill 1557 by Paxton, Parker, and Hagenbu, relating to powers of regional transportation authorities, to transportation. Senate Bill 1558 by Perry, relating to the liability of nonprofit entities contracted with the Department of Family and Protective Services, to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1559 by Zaffarini, relating to the transfer of a protective order, to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1560 by Schwartner, relating to the submission to the legislature of financial information of an independent organization certified for a power region, to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1561 by Menendez, relating to a ketamine treatment grant program for ketamine clinics serving active duty military personnel, to veteran affairs. Senate Bill 1562 by Menendez, relating to the creation, distribution, and posting of a veterans benefits and services poster in the workplace, to veteran affairs. Senate Bill 1563 by Menendez, relating to county jailer training on interacting with veterans in the criminal justice system, to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1564 by Johnson, relating to the peace officer status of designated investigators of municipal office or of Inspector General, to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1566 by Bettencourt, relating to connection of utilities by certain entities in certain subdivisions formerly located in a municipality's extraterritorial jurisdiction, to local government. Senate Bill 1567 by Bettencourt, relating to the authority of home rule municipalities to regulate the occupancy of dwelling units, to local government. Senate Bill 1568 by Zaffarini, relating to the issuance of animal-friendly specialty license plates, to transportation. Senate Bill 1569 by King, relating to the availability of certain personal information of a member of the governing board of an institution of higher education, to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1570 by Birdwell, relating to the creation of the Tarleton State University College of Osteopathic Medicine, to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1571 by Birdwell, relating to disclosure under the public information law of certain contact information of a notary public, to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1572 by Birdwell, relating to the operation of vehicles transporting steel, to transportation. Senate Bill 1573 by Birdwell, relating to a limitation on the use of certain unsubstantiated information relating to peace officer misconduct, to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1574 by Zaffarini, relating to a Centers of Excellence program developed by the Texas Judicial Council, to Finance. Senate Bill 1575 by Zaffarini relating to the development and implementation of an all-hazards court security plan. To Jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1902 by Nichols relating to the administration of the dealer-issued license plates database and to the removal and transfer of license plates. To Transportation. SCR 23 by Parker designating the first full week of April as Gifted and Talented Students Week. To Administration. SCR 24, expressing support for the strengthening of our partnership with Israel for the creation of the Texas Trade and Investment Office in Israel. To Economic Development. SCR 25 by Alvarado, urging the Houston City Council to construct a pedestrian bridge in memory of Sergio Ivan Rodriguez. To Transportation. SCR 26 by Sparks, designating the Texas Strip Steak as the official state steak of Texas and directing the Texas Department of Agriculture to promote the Texas Strip Steak. To Water, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs. SJR 58 by Gutierrez, proposing a constitutional amendment authorizing the Kickapoo Traditional Tribe of Texas to conduct gaming by executing a gaming compact with this state. To State Affairs. SJR 59 by Birdwell, proposing a constitutional amendment providing for the creation of funds to support the capital needs of educational programs offered by the Texas State Technical College system to education K through 16. SJR 61 by Hall, proposing a constitutional amendment authorizing the legislature to provide for legislative review or approval of state agency rules. To Business and Commerce.
Pursuant to a motion adopted previously, the Senate stands in recess till 2 p.m. Monday.